What is up, guys? This video is another one in our Unfiltered Conversation series where I talk about my experiences working in startups, MNCs, and academic labs in the domain of robotics. Well, I've told you guys in the past that once I graduated in 2016, I explored these three options in the domain of robotics and then I chose to work for startups. Now, why did I arrive at this conclusion? Why did I choose robotics? And more importantly, what are the features of choosing these three subdomains, so to speak? By that I mean, why would you choose MNCs or why would you choose academic labs and why would you choose startups? So let's look at these three work opportunities and how they are different from each other. Starting from the first one, startups. Now, I'm heavily into startups, so I have a soft corner for this option. So please bear that in mind and then make your opinion. And also, this is just my personal experience, so you can choose to disagree because every person needs to have his or her own experience and then choose accordingly. So I started working in startups after I graduated in 2016. The thing with startups is you have a high sense of responsibility, you have a lot of leverage, and then you also have a lot more freedom. With freedom comes also responsibility, right? But the thing is, with this responsibility, you end up learning a lot more. You wear multiple hats because you're working in a startup which is possibly constrained, and then because of these resource constraints, you end up wearing multiple hats and then you do a lot more things. In my case, I spend 80% of my time with software engineering and then 20% of my time with embedded and electronics. That is the case now. When I started working with robotic startups in 2016, it was all about hardware engineering for me. But now, with this division of work, I spend a lot of time with software design, software architecture. Um, I spend a lot of time with the computer vision, which is again software based for the most part, but of course, you need to work with edge computing. And then I also spend time with electronics, hardware. We need to spend a little time with project management. So we do agile, we do scrum. But in a startup, we need to handle all of these things ourselves. We, of course, will have some managers, but we do not have such a strong hierarchy like multinational corporations, right? So, my point is when you're working for a startup, you will learn a lot of things, not just one specific thing. So, you will not be boxed, you will learn quite a few things. And then, based on that, your personality will be very different, right? So, you've heard about this phrase where people say that master of none and then jack of all trades. I believe that in the right startup, you do not become a jack of all trades. You still become master of at least one, but usually more than one. And then you have a good idea of some other subdomains of or like some other facets of working. So for a person like me who wants to learn a lot of things within that specific subdomain, which is robotics for me, I absolutely have a ball working with robotic startups. So that's what I choose. And one thing about robotic startups is that you don't feel siloed in one specific thing, like one very, very niche thing, and it doesn't become an echo chamber. Now, this was about startups. Now, let's talk about academic labs. This is the one I am not a big fan of. Again, not generalizing. I know people who absolutely love working with academic labs in universities, but for a person like me who wants to build stuff, build products, it just doesn't feel like the right place. But anyway, without my opinions, without my biased opinions, I'll talk about the good things and the bad things in academic labs. The good thing about academic labs is that if you like research, then it is the best place to be in. Some people like research and development. I would not say academic labs are the best for that, but if you like pure research, academic labs for you. And some academic labs also have really great development, right? Because a lot of stuff like great computer vision models we use in our daily lives now, they've come from academic labs. So I'm not saying they are bad. And of course, again, there are many, many great academic labs. But when it comes to development, a lot of them don't focus on great engineering. So if you want to be a researcher, then you need to go the path of you need to take the path of your graduation, then masters, then PhD, then postdoc. And when you start your PhD, you actually enter the academic lab sphere, so to speak, and you end up hopefully becoming a great researcher. And then after your postdoc, maybe you become a professor. So if you also want to teach, you definitely need to go down the academic lab path and then become a teacher in a university, right? That's the good thing about academic labs because it gives you a lot of flexibility for research. But if you want to build product, then you have to either choose MNCs or industry or maybe do something of your own. Because academic labs arguably are not the best place for this. Again, take this with a pinch of salt because there are exceptions. So please do not hate me in the comments if you think this is not the case. This is my experience, and after experiencing academic labs, I formed my own opinion for myself based on who I am and what I like. Right. So this was about academic labs. The third one, MNCs. Well, I spent 2 years working in MNCs as well. The good thing about MNCs is relatively more financial stability. And then if you want to be a super specialist in something specific, then you work in MNCs. But this statement to me is not really satisfying because I do not want to go down the rabbit hole of one specific thing in a specific domain for the next 10, 15, 20 years. I want to be a builder where a builder can do multiple things in that domain itself. For me, that domain is robotics, and I work mostly with software, a little bit with electronics, and even in software, you have quite a few things in robotics, right? In MNCs, that would not have been possible. So that's one thing about MNCs which does not work well with me. Maybe it works well with you because a lot of my friends who are great engineers work with MNCs in a very specific domain in a specific industry, and it works well for them. And MNCs usually pay you a lot more than startups and academia. So if you're in for money, then MNCs is the right way to go. I'm not sure if this is going to change in the future because I've seen this trend changing a little bit, but MNCs have clout, they have money, and that's where they win big time, right? So this was about MNCs. And overall, I chose startups because that resonates well with my personality. I like to be a builder, as I said, and then I want to learn multiple subdomains in a specific domain. So right now I work with, as I said, software engineering, computer vision, embedded software, navigation for robotics. So I do all of this, and I don't want to limit myself to one specific thing. And also I love development. So I like research and I love development. So I combine the both where my focus is a little bit more on development than research because I like to see things come to life, and that's how I work. So yeah, this was my experiences working with startups, academia, and multinational corporations. One thing I always say, and one thing I was fortunate enough to do, was explore to see what these domains are like firsthand, because you can see all of these videos and you can get whatever information you're getting from these videos, but you need to experience these on your own to have a better decision, right? Because maybe I'm saying that my experience was the best when it comes to startups, but your experience might be very different. You might end up in a shitty startup, and then you might end up in a great academic lab, and then you would choose the researcher path and then become a professor. So it's always better to experience things yourselves instead of forming an opinion based on what other people are saying. But anyway, this was my experience. I'd love to know what you think. If you think this video was useful, please comment here, because that helps me, and I can make more videos around these things or something else. If you think I should talk about something else, please comment here again. And if you haven't subscribed, please do, because that helps me a lot again. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye bye.